We hated Taylor Swift. We hate it when our friends become successful. We hate it when our friends become successful. Oh, look at those clothes. Now look at that face. It's so old. And such a video. Well, it's really laughable. Ha, ha, ha. We hate it when our friends become successful, and if they're northern, that makes it even worse. And if we can destroy them, you bet your life we will destroy them. If we can hurt them, well, we may as well. It's really laughable. Ha, ha, ha. You see, it should have been me. It could have been me. Everybody knows. Everybody says so. They say, ah, you have loads of songs. So many songs, oh, songs, and they can stand, and middle eighth, break a fade. Just listen. La, 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 la. Some of you may recognise that as Morris's We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful, taken from his third studio album, Arsenal. Morrissey stated that, when my old friend Simon Topping, the frontman of a Manchester band A Certain Ratio, appeared on the cover of the NME, News Musical Express, I died 1,000 deaths of sorrow and lay down in the woods to die. A song about the envy of when a friend becomes successful. And of course, one would think that if your friend is successful, you'd be pleased for them, but it's not always the case. And thus, this segues neatly with regard to the revelation that Taylor Swift's classmates hated her at school. Before we get into that, you'll be aware that as a consequence of my excellent video, Very Performing Narcissist, I explain why Taylor Swift is a narcissist and also an aware one. I followed up on that with my dissection of the lyrics to the song Antihero, and also explanation in part of sections of the video to demonstrate that it isn't a song about being a victim, as some people have thought, and a particular individual who attempted to dissect it thought, supposedly an expert on narcissism, and demonstrating once again that her credentials in that regard are highly questionable. But rather, it is a song about being a narcissist, written by a narcissist who knows they are a narcissist and is quite frankly taking the piss. It's evident that my early dissection came to the attention of Miss Swift for her to talk in such terms about her own, quote, covert narcissism, unquote, in the song Anti-Hero. And I was pleased to note that in the comment section, many of you recognised and understood what she is. There are one or two hapless souls who didn't quite get it. They don't really understand narcissism if they believe that she's a victim of narcissism, and they really ought to go and listen to a Very Performing Narcissist so they gain that understanding. Now, of course, all famous people started out somewhere. They have families, they have classmates, former work colleagues, and often there's a tale or two to tell about so-called famous person from those individuals. Sometimes those people are approached, don't want to talk about it. They respect the privacy of the individual and think, well, that was back then before they were famous, and therefore I'm a friend of theirs, or at least I was. I'm not going to gossip about them, and we'll keep stum. Recognising boundaries, exhibiting emotional empathy, showing accountability for their behaviours. There are others who are quite happy to talk about that person because they're famous and they might be offered some kind of inducement to do so. They might be paid, or the simple fact that they are getting some attention themselves doesn't mean that they're a narcissist, but the fact is they want to spill what they know about this individual and share it to the world. Now, of course, one often has to look at the motivation of the individuals concerned. Are they envious of the success of this individual? Is it a case, as Morrissey sang, we hate it when our friends become successful? Or are they just simply, impartially explaining how it was in relation to that individual? The roots, the beginnings of a person's foray into fame and fortune are often very interesting. The origin story, as the Duchess of Beige would refer to, thinking that she occupies a space in the Marvel Universe. However, when it comes to Taylor Swift, we learn more about her, which we can see through the prism of her narcissism. An article by something called yourtango.com, written by Megan Quinn, tells us Taylor Swift's former classmate explains why most people hated her during high school. With the recent release of her new album Midnights, there is no denying that Taylor Swift has an adoring fan base. Huge amount of tertiary sources, allows the presentation of a facade, receipt of fuel, easy to control because they're adoring. Their adoration is pure positive fuel. However, a former classmate of the pop star has revealed that most of the student body who attended high school with her were not fans of Swift before she got her big break. In a TikTok video, Jessica McLean, who grew up in the same town as Swift and attended high school with her, claims that most of her classmates believe Swift's songs were petty. McLean reveals that although she was classmates with Swift, she doesn't know much about the singer or her music, especially growing up. I was a church kid. I didn't really listen to Taylor Swift, kind of just got into Taylor Swift, so give me some grace, she says. In 2006, McLean was a freshman in high school and Swift was a junior. Her hit song, Teardrops on My Guitar, was released that summer. Obviously, Swift got really big, and that's the year that she left school and was homeschooled, McLean says. However, after the song's release and Swift's departure from public school, her classmates did not take a liking to her. Something you need to know about Henderson High School, when she first started becoming super successful, most people hated her, McLean shares. Keep in mind, these are her peers. These aren't just some random people on the internet. She's literally 16 or 17, leaving school to pursue a career that people are telling her that she could never have. A significant reason Swift's classmates didn't like her was that her lyrics were petty and portrayed those she dated that attended high school with her in a negative light. Now, this is something, as my observation, that Taylor Swift is well known for. As I've mentioned before, the parody site Key of Awesome once commented when parodying her Shake It Off, the fact that if you broke her heart, you'd end up in a shitty song. That one of Taylor Swift's methods of asserting control over those who threatened her control by being problematic in a relationship, and of course problematic from her narcissistic perspective, is that she'll write about them, putting them down, smearing them as a means to assert control, portraying herself as the hard-done-to victim in the situation. However, that she always triumphs, that she's getting her own back, that she will always get revenge, demonstrating her reach and the authority of her control. And therefore, it is something that she did when she was dating more famous people, and it's clearly something that had its origins when she was still at school. The fact that those she dated, where she deemed that they were a threat to control, and remember, this is from the narcissistic perspective, so those individuals may have done nothing more than their fuel becomes stale, resulting in them being devalued. She continues to assert control over them through negative follow-up hoovers by writing about them. And the consequential impact of that is that other people saw this and thought that was pretty shitty behaviour and petty. The article continues. The guys she was writing songs about, they were still in school. And now they have a hit song about them, talking about what a shitty boyfriend they are, McLean says. There are a lot of rumours going around about how she got her start in the first place. The fact remains is that there were not a lot of people in high school who had nice things to say about her. McLean reveals that in 2009, when she was a senior in high school, her class was invited by Swift to the 2009 CMA Awards, where she was performing her song 15. We were all really excited. Who gets invited by Taylor Swift to the CMAs? That's really cool, McLean says. However, she believed it was very random of Swift to invite her class, given most of her classmates disliked her. This, of course, is part of the facade management of Swift to demonstrate, look how kind I am, keeping in touch with my classmates and inviting them along, whereas, of course, what she's really doing is the old flex. Look at me. I'm successful. I'm famous. I've got money. What are all you doing? Humdrum, run-of-the-mill jobs? I'm better than you. And whilst it appears like she's exhibiting largesse by inviting them along, she's asserting control over them by triangulating them with her success and rubbing their noses in it. Indeed, she was probably aware that many of her classmates disliked her, and this was in effect her way of getting back at them. The article continues. She points out that 2009 is the year that Swift killed the game and was the recipient of numerous music awards, including Entertainer of the Year, Female Vocalist of the Year, Album of the Year, and Music Video of the Year. Her performance was incredible, McLean says. It was only this year when Swift announced that she was releasing her album Midnights on Kim Kardashian's birthday, overshadowing, with whom she has feuded before, that McLean realised there was a petty side to the singer and that everything she did was intentional. She invited us to the CMAs to say, fuck you, McLean shares, and we deserved it. So to Taylor, touche, that was a good one. And thereafter, some TikTokers defending Swift in the comments section to the video. As she should. Stay petty, girl, one user wrote. No better revenge than success, another user pointed out. People always hate on people doing big things because they're mad it's not them. They want to do big things, then do it, another user shared. McLean apparently posted a follow-up video explaining that jealousy, but it should be envy, was also a major factor as to why many people did not like her. The 16 and 17-year-olds that were trying to have a career in music at Hendersonville were playing downtown or playing in a local coffee shop, not winning awards, McLean says. And it's not these people weren't talented, it's just that most people don't make it. McLean added that people also like to spread the occasional rumour that Swift was mean and unpleasant as a result of their jealousy. Again, she means envy. So, of course, one has to take into account the envy that was motivating these comments, but it does appear justified that they viewed her songs as petty because we have seen that behaviour of Taylor Swift's with regard to asserting control by writing about people, boyfriends and those that she dated, her relationships in her songs as a means of asserting control over them. It also demonstrates another facet of her narcissism by the invitation that she extended to them to attend the CMAs. Taylor Swift won't give a fig about the fact that her classmates hated her. She, in herself, knew that she was destined for bigger and better things. She, in herself, knew that she was superior to them. That, of course, is the hallmark of her status as the type of narcissist that she is, and she had the ability, although she may not be your cup of tea musically, her success demonstrates that she's certainly cups of teas for certain people, and therefore her success speaks for itself. The hatred and dislike that poured from those classmates is simply negative fuel for her, and whilst it's challenge fuel and she would have to deal with it, she lapped it up, enjoying their envy, because she would look down on them from her rarefied position of them being the little people, and indeed wanted to rub their noses in it when she invited them to the CMA Awards. Another useful example of understanding the narcissist in action. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.